what's this? In regards to rep, they did say in an interview, which is with Us Gamers, each zone has its own purely cosmetic Renown-like rep, and you can do them all at the same time.
Interesting.
Okay, that's really good. Does that mean that each zone kind of at max level is going to have its own gameplay layer? Like a little bit of a Suramar going on with its...
No, I would very much... I would super
much.
caution against saying Suramar because that was a lot of content.
Yeah,
It's probably smaller stuff because remember, kind of... That's how Legion kind of worked. You had your rep in each zone. So it could just be World Quest-a-thon for rep grind. I wouldn't get too excited.
That's what I want to hear them talk about.
Yeah.
Because, like, do you remember World Quest 2.0 for Shadowlands? Yeah. Remember that? And that was certainly...
Yeah, World Quest 0.5.
Yep. World Quests. They're slower now.
Yeah. Which is fine, but they're not more fun. You made the unfun take longer, not the thing become fun.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it's like, I agree with that principle when it comes to like fighting enemies. Where like, yeah, we wanted to not have you one-shot everything. You're like, sweet. But then apply the same to World Quest. You're like, but these aren't fun. Why are they not fun? Is it because they're World Quests? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, Warcraft Twitter account is getting in some of that action, highlighting the new Primalist sets.
Nice.
Which are certainly...
I cannot wait for them to ship and every difficulty below Mythic doesn't have the spell effects again. Wouldn't that be great? I can't wait to bid opens and I can send some feedback.
Try Us Gamers.
Yeah, I'm skimming through it now. I don't really see massive... This is an opportunity for us to head back into Azeroth and into a very grounded space. It feels like classic World of Warcraft. Good job for Jeremy. Good job. Yeah, not necessarily about a world-ending threat. It's about history, characters, exploration. You're an exploration-based adventure. Oh yeah, that's one thing I wanted to say during the deep dive. Talking about it not being like a military expedition, but it's like scientists and shit. You're like, has that ever happened before?
No.
It's every time it's been, it's TBC, head of military expedition, stop Ilden. Ratha's King. Go set up a literal like forward camp to push our way into Northrend to kill Arthas. Sweet. Cataclysm was a little bit more kind of out there, but it was still, go kill loads of stuff. And then the other part was, Mists was militaristic immediately, and it doubled down in the military stuff. There was parts of that were cool, like Anduin's little expedition, having to go find him and sort him out. That felt really cool. So I think the more of that. Yeah, basically everything was just, we have to go in and kill someone. This time it's, we have to go in and see what the crack is. Then we'll kill people later, but yeah.
Let's see this for Renown. Looking back, extends to recent history as well, taking elements of an expansion like Shadowlands and reimagining them for the return. You're going to be seeing an advancement to the Renown system that we used in Covenants, which we think is a really cool way to set up a reputation in a way that feels fresh. No,
it felt fresh, but it wasn't really cool.
If that's just your Renown bar, or sorry, if that's just like a new way for a rep bar to feel, fine. But if it is just, you get 2 points every week, that's it, and then catch up kicks in. If it's that, please no, please reconsider.
Interesting.
We'll see. But anyway, so what he keeps on saying though, which we think is a really cool way to set up a reputation in a way that feels fresh World of Warcraft. Jeremy Fiesel says, our 4 main reputations each have their own different set of renowned levels, and that lets us reward you often. It lets us show you what you're getting during the course of unlocking various different things, whether it's cool cosmetics associated with those reps, or additional quest lines associated with them, or additional gameplay. We really wanted to go deep with all of these different aspects. The new version of daily quests is going to be transferring over to a very activity-centric system where you're always making progress.
Threads of Fate.
Unlike Covenants, you don't pick one of these different reps to gain renown. You can do all of them. Good. We're looking at how we can incorporate alt friendliness in the same way we did in 9.1.52. So it's all a big refresh to the outdoor world.
Michael.
Sounds like learning.
They're looking at a patch that was after a 0.0. That's the first time they've ever done that. Every single time we get is 0.0 that's like every other 0.0. But now they're looking at a 0.15 and going, maybe we should put this in the next game. That's genuinely incredible. That's incredible. But yeah, I guess like my fear here is just like, okay, this is all Threads of Fate stuff, so it doesn't really have like activities you do specifically for it. It's you do your Threads of Fate and fill the bar until your bar's filled, and then you go do a quest that takes 5 minutes. That's kind of the problem I kind of feel like I'm kind of anticipating with this, but I could almost definitely see this be, go and everything you do feels kind of good for this.
Yeah, I've got here, with both an alpha preview and beta event planned, Blizzard's not quite ready to reveal the release date. That said, Return to Azeroth and the more grounded story, it wasn't an immediate cataclysmic event. We were curious what it meant to visit. Right. Okay, so what's this going to be? With the Dragonflights, if they couldn't be defenders of Azeroth anymore, what is their future? Jeremy ponders. That's really what we're going to be exploring, and we'll be getting into their stories as you land in the Dragon Isles. You're going to be meeting with Dragonspawn and Dragonkin, some of our ancient friends from Blackwing Lair, upres for New Generation, learning about their purpose in Dragon Society. We're going to find out the life pools of the Red Dragonflight, where the sacred oath to the Titans was put forth, helping them regain some of their power. Visiting the different Dragonflights is a bit similar to what we did in Wrath of the Lich King, Jeremy concludes. But these are fully fledged areas, and many of them have dungeons associated with them, helping the Black Dragonflight take back their defensive citadel, helping the Green secure the Grove. The main Dragonflights aren't all of the dragons in World of Warcraft either. We've met a bunch of other dragons, Stone Dragons, Thunder Dragons. Here we're meeting another group of dragons called the Primalists. They follow a group of primal incarnates, followers of Galakrond. Ancient, huge proto-dragons that chose not to side with the Titans.
Cool.
They believe everything should be subservient to dragonkind because they're big and powerful. Facing off against dragons. Dragon versus dragons can be a lot of fun.
That's really...
There's a little bit of plot.
That's really cool, generally, but it's also really frustrating. I'll tell you exactly why. On Friday, we covered a community console forum post from someone who talked about how dragons didn't really feel like dragons. They just felt like elves that sometimes could be dragons. Obviously, they're going to rectify a bunch of that with this stuff by focusing on them. But those proto-dragons being like, fuck it, we're dragons, we're cooler, we're bigger, we're stronger, everyone can bow to us. Those are cool dragons, but they're the villains, so we have to kill them. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But generally, yeah, that's actually really cool. The fact that they're followers of Galakrond means they probably do have decent storytelling to do with that, which means all of my fears can go a little bit away. There was one other little thing you kind of skipped over the interview that, let me say that again, but not extremely fast. There's one thing you skipped over in that interview that I thought was interesting.
Oh.
Because obviously everyone's like, the really defensive people will be like, but my flying, I've taken away my no-clip. Why am I have to do this gameplay now? I don't know why I was doing a little bit of blame game, but there's obviously flying, people are going to be mad at missing flying, right? Because it's just convenient, go here. And they're like, this isn't the flying I wanted. Fuck's sake. Jeremy said, you're going to be moving much faster than existing mount speeds when flying.
Oh!
So dragon riding is going to be extremely fast, which will probably take away all that
Oh, that's great, yeah. Because what would piss me off is if they did a really cool new feature, it just felt great, but because technically it wasn't as the crow flies, the fastest way, the efficient way, that it would then got just get railed on by people. So yeah, if it ends up being faster and it feels better, then people just kind of universally think, okay, that's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, then I'd start to wonder could that be a jumping off point to more interesting traversal in Warcraft?
Absolutely.
Don't know. Yeah. But yeah, certainly interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as Dark Souls says, as someone who's gotten the mounts in Guild Wars 2, it's way more fun. But people will optimize the fun out of things. So it's like, is it faster to just fly as the crow flies across this? Yes, then you'll fly instead of dragon ride. But if dragon riding's way faster, then just fucking off you go. Off you go.
Yeah. So evidently there's a lot they could have showed us. They could have really went into all the rewards from these new big reputations in each of the zones. They could have dived into what that content's going to look like, what these activities and events and things are going to look like. Yep. So they have cards close to their chest. I think the big question is, are there going to be new bullet points, new features that we don't know about? Or is this really it for the main features? And instead, it's that thing where the devil is in the details. Therefore, the thing they're trying to get right is the details. Which, probably would not be ideal if you're a person trying to market this game. Probably going to be better if you're one of the people playing it.
Well, that's a thing where I feel like if at any point these designers are thinking, how do we market this? If anyone's thinking this in terms of, not in terms of how do we get our audience to like this, in terms of how do we market this, you know, how do we put an axe in a cab in New York? How do we sell this to loads of people? If they are thinking that instead of going, what's going to make this game the best? What's going to make this game the most fun? Then I think they're kind of making a mistake. So the idea of we've got one bullet point, but the bullet point has like a little indent bullet point below that says, by the way, this is actually fucking good for a change. Then I think that's better than 5 bullet points. And I think everyone will kind of feel that way.
Yeah, I'd also think, and this is super important, it seems that these things, that this will be work that is important in the next expansion.
Yeah.
And that's been a big difference to the past. Like, they could fix up professions in WoW. Then professions will be way more in-depth, way more interesting. And then in the next expansion, we carry through that win. Talents. Right? Let's say the next expansion takes us up to level 80.
Is this the borrowed power problem solved forever?
Yeah. Then they give us 10 more talent points, and they add a few more things to our trees.
We go, thank you.
And, you know, the way that could work as an example here is, yeah, they can only give us 1 or 2 new talents, but because you have more points, you can invest more into the existing tree so that you have more options, so you feel like a little bit of growth. So I think that's like my main takeaway here.
For sure.
This is actually work being put into the overall long-term health and quality of World of Warcraft. We'd always been pissed off at the idea of, like, they just kind of, since Legion, they've remade the same thing. And it's like, WoW hasn't actually moved forward. It's almost felt like they've tried to remake the same thing, but every time we get less content with the most recent regurgitation of the endgame loop as established in Legion. So that also for sure has me excited. And then I guess from a gameplay perspective, they didn't talk about it much, but then of course we just have to look to 9.2.5 and the things that are changing there, which I suppose
actually that's a good point. I imagine they're not going to talk too much about how the game will work at endgame because we haven't seen what season 4 looks like.
Yeah,
I imagine there'll be a lot of, like, they'll build the content, but there'll be some of the system kind of I guess massaging the systems into place will maybe happen a little bit after season 4's got feedback, or at least like completely ironed in, like, you know, set in stone rather.